Thank you all so much for stopping by. So I want you all to share with me the process. Today we are going to plant a patio garden salad container. Yep. Okay, I'm going to put things that go in a salad in this container. So yeah, you could call that, and it's on the patio, a patio garden salad container. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, so if you remember this container, it had tomatoes in here, it had oregano, and it had a calabracoa. I pulled every single thing out of here, and we are going to start fresh today. Now, I get a lot of questions about the soil. Do you change the soil each time? And so my answer is it depends, and I'll go over it really quickly when I say it depends, because I wanted to make this video short, y'all. Y'all know how I get. So if you remember our fall planters that we planted, I got rid of all the soil. It was so many grubs in there that I was not going to risk putting my new plants in there for the grubs to eat the roots. Now, this soil was fine. Everything was good. What I did was pull everything out, and some soil went with it. So I went in. I will just say this: if you do recycle the soil, you need to go back in and put some nutrients in there. So what I did was I put some compost in here, and then I topped it back off with more potting soil, probably like I'm not good on measurement, maybe like 3 inches. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some slow release fertilizer in there. I love using Garden Tone. I'm looking around because y'all are not going to believe this. If you remember, for my birthday, the kids cleaned off this patio, and I've been seed starting, and things really look a mess right now, and I should be ashamed of myself. But I'm trying to get things in the ground, getting started, and just kind of being just growing so that we can be able to harvest throughout the season. But I'm gonna clean it up, but I wanted to go ahead and get this started today because we're doing some direct seeding, and we're also doing some transplants. So what I also did was, after I put the compost in, I put some more potting soil in, I went in with some hot boiling water, and I just poured it over here. And this probably was like a week ago because I started prepping. So I poured the hot water in there, so if there was any type of insects or things like that, then I'm pretty sure that hot boiling water got rid of them. Now, this is the Garden Tone that I am going to go in and put in here. I really don't measure. I just kind of take my hand and just sprinkle it everywhere. And then I'm also, for my transplants that we put in today of the lettuce, I'm in the planting hole, I'm going to put some biotone in there. So that's what we're going to use. So we got our compost. We're going to come in with our slow release fertilizer, and we're going to do some direct seeding today. So good. When I direct sow, which basically means you're sowing the seed directly into this soil, I like for my soil to already be wet so that when I really don't have to go back in. If I do, I'll put my what do you call it, the sprinkler attachment on. Like, I'll put it on a nice mist just to wet this top area and have that wet, because when you're direct sowing, you don't want your seeds to dry out, which is why we need to run some drip irrigation, because sometimes I forget. I start doing something else, because today I was supposed to be planting celery, and I just went to the left and said I want to do this today. But the soil is already wet from with down beneath, so you don't have to do a whole bunch of heavy watering, and so that's going to help that seed not to be dislodged in there. So really quick, let me show you what we are going to plant in this container, y'all. It's going to be so good. I can already just get ready to start harvesting. What I will tell you is, I really did try to sit down with a piece of paper and like draw this out, but then I started looking at my seeds, and I'm like, ooh, I want to plant that, and I want to plant that, and I want to plant that. So we're going to see what all we can get in here. So I am going to leave a link in the description. Make sure you go over and you download our 5 tips to a flourishing garden. This has helped so many people just try to get the garden growing, and without being frustrated as to why the plants aren't doing what they're supposed to do. This is the guide that I still use today. because at a time like now, I don't want anyone to get frustrated and want to stop gardening. Gardening is a journey, and so I want you all to take that journey, and these tips will definitely help you go on this journey. The next thing is we just put out 15 cool weather vegetables that you can grow in your garden. And we are growing quite a bit, and we're about to get ready to grow some more today that is on that list. But if you haven't picked up the Lettuce Grow Together ebook, y'all, we have so many people growing, and it's called Let Us Grow Together, and I want us to grow together. I'm having so much fun. So many people are growing lettuce, and it is great. So we started off just growing some lettuce. This is the Rocky Top blend from Baker Creek that we started from seed. We started this from seed when we first released the ebook, and this is the point where it's at now. So these are our transplants that we're going to put over in the patio container. When I get done with this, I'm going to wash and sanitize this out because I wanted a little bit more red. I don't know why, I just love the look of red lettuce. It's just striking to me. So we still got some lettuce, but we only got like a few red lettuce. So we're going to go ahead and replant that some more because I told y'all I want to do better about succession planting. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started. We're going to plant some Johnny jump ups. I actually started these from soil blocks, so they're really small. Let me show you real quick. And these are edible. These are edible flowers that will look so pretty in the container. I wanted to start these from seed just because they do sell these at the garden centers, but since I don't know what all was done to the seeds, if I'm going to ingest it or the plant, I'd rather start it myself. So these are the little soil blocks of the Johnny jump ups that we're going to add. And then, now I don't know how much radish we're going to be able to put in here. What I love about radish is it's a very quick crop. Most radish that I've planted take about 20 to 35 days to go ahead and harvest, and you want to make sure that you harvest radish when you're supposed to, because as it gets older, the taste, the texture, it changes. So here I am with the colors. I just thought that was pretty. Wow, purple radish. So this is purple plum radish right here. Then this is a new one that I saw, and this is yellow radish. I don't know. I don't know what it is about. I just want it to be pretty. So this is going to be a very pretty garden salad when we're done. And y'all make sure you follow me along so you can see the progress. So we got yellow radish, and then this radish takes a little bit longer. This is 60 days. So we're going to plant carrots today too in that same space. So the carrots and the radish, I'm going to pull out the carrots. These are Napoli carrots. They take about 58 days, and then the radish the watermelon radish takes about 60 days. So they're going to be right together. These we're going to continue to pull with the lettuce, but these are going to take a little bit longer. But I think we can make it because, like I said, we've been in the 90s. I think today is like 86, 87 degrees. I am going to put a shade cloth on this container just to keep it out of the sun and to keep it cool. And then Easter egg radish, we'll see how many we can get. These are 30 days. So let me go ahead and I am going to get started. I want to show you how I prep my space for direct seeding. That's really why I wanted to make this video. And then I'll show you how we do the transplants as well. But the direct seeding, I wanted to go ahead and show you this because I know that we'll have to come back once everything starts sprouting and thin them out, and I'll bring you along with that. But that's one reason why I like to get the soil nice and wet, because I don't want those seeds to continue to be dislodged. Also, always make sure you read the back of the package, because it's going to tell you a lot of information about how far apart, how deep to plant it. Like these are 1/4 to 1 inch deep in rows of 16 to 24 inches. So it's going to show you all of that. So let me go ahead, move back over to the container garden, And let's see if we can do this one-handed. Okay, so the Johnny Jump Ups are soil blocks, and they're really small. So the package says to space them about 4 to 5 inches apart. So all I did was take like a broken yardstick that I use for the garden and just kind of make an indentation in here where I want everything to be. And then what I'm going to do is, as I make each little hole, I'm going to put the biotone. I'm going to put a little bit of biotone. I'll probably just spread it over the whole little line. Put that in there because I've noticed that when I use the biotone, sometimes plants can go through like a shock phase because you're moving them from where they were, or you're putting them in another condition and they may not like it. Now, we did harden off all of our Johnny Jump Ups, but now we're putting it in a new container. So to kind of minimize some of that shock that they may experience, I noticed that the biotone helps it out a little bit. It's kind of like a plant food to get them to going and get them to growing. So we're going to put the Johnny Jump Ups front and center just so we'll have some color right when you come out and look at the patio. So we have our Johnny Jump Ups planted, and I like this little tool. I got this from Gardener Supply because you can measure. It does give you like a guideline of the different things that you planted, but with these soil blocks being so small, I can literally just take this little dowel and just make a hole in there and pop them in. And so that's what we've did. We are doing the Johnny Jump Ups in the front. I may add some more, but the next thing I'm going to try to get in here is, see, this is why I should have planned. Let's try to do, we're going to do the lettuce transplants right here in the middle. So we got our lettuce planted, we got our Johnny Jump Ups planted, and yeah, like I thought, I'm running out of room. So this is what I'm going to do on this side right here, and we'll stop about right here. Can y'all see where I'm drawing the line? We're going to put a row of the purple radish, and then on this side we'll do the same and put a row of the yellow radish. Now I think I'm going to take this back right here and put our carrots, and then maybe in these corners right here, once the spinach gets ready, we'll tuck those back in there. I'll have to see how far apart to space the spinach because the spinach might not make it in. So, but we definitely want to get the carrots planted, and I definitely want to see the yellow and the purple radish. So we're not going to be able to plant the watermelon radish. So again, this is the purple plum, and so these are about 25 to 30 days to harvest. And so once they start coming up, we will go ahead and thin them to about 6 inches. But I'm trying to do it one hand, so y'all bear with me. I just kind of take my hand. Normally I'll take these two hands, but it's too hard for me to do. So I'm just gonna kind of go in a row, and I may come back and just kind of thin them again. See, I put too much in one area, so we'll just do it like that. And then I'll probably come back, because what I try to do, if I didn't have this camera in my hand, I would have some kind of in these fingers and just go like this, and then we'll come back and thin it. But this is good. They're still going to germinate. I just don't want a clump in like one area. I want to kind of spread them out there, and then I'll just take my hand and cover them up nicely. And again, once they come up, we'll thin them to about 6 inches apart. In about 25 to 30 days, we can harvest them. So I'm just going to do the same on this side with the yellow ones, and then same thing with the carrot seeds. We're just going to sow these on this back row, and then we'll see once everything starts growing, because I like for things to look full, but you also don't want to crowd them too, because they still need that air circulation. You don't want to sow them or let them grow to where they're so close together you don't have enough airflow, which can, results in a lot of pests. Although it's fall, let me tell you, it's still hot, and these pests are still on it, especially the mosquitoes. But hopefully in about a couple of months, we will be, at least the population will be down with the pest. Okay, so y'all know I don't want to miss telling you anything. We're about to direct sow our carrots. And one thing that I want to tell you, when you are sowing carrots, make sure your soil is nice and loose, because carrots are a root vegetable. And so when those carrots start to form and go down in the soil, they need that soil to be loose so that they can make the carrots. If your soil is not loose, or clay or anything like that, then that's when you get all of the different type of shape carrots that you always see, because they are not, the soil is not loose. Okay, so this is our shade cloth right here that I'm gonna put on here for the days where it's just exceptionally hot. When it starts to cool down, I'll probably switch it out and put the insect netting on. But what we did is we went ahead and put just a little light layer of straw down. And this is going to help hold in the moisture. We have our Johnny jump ups right here. I was really light on this area until they get a little bit bigger, because I don't want the straw to like smother them. And then the radish seeds and the carrot seeds will start to germinate, and once that happens, I'll do another video on how we're going to thin those. And a lot of people have asked me about this little structure right here. This is what was left of a cattle panel that we use to make some trellises in the garden, and we just bent it. It was the perfect size. So this is what I use to kind of hold up the shade cloth. And what I'll do is take some of clips. I'll take some of the clips and kind of hold it down so it doesn't blow. Let me show you the clips that I'm talking about really quick before I get ready to go. But this, until I get my husband to run the drip, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, I'll get him to run drip, because this is what's going to help me with having to come out here or having to remember to water. I eventually seriously want to get everything on drip, because I've forgotten to water a couple container plants. We'll work that out, because I think the container plants are the ones that I forget the most, and those are the ones that are the most important to make sure that you keep watered, because they cannot pull from the soil. You have to remember to water them. But let me show you the little clips real quick that we use, and then I'll just take the shade cloth and like clip them down. Okay, so here are the clips right here. I think we got these from oh gosh, where did we get them from? Harbor Freight. What are they? Tension spring clamps. So we just take these clips and like clip them to the bottom, just so when the wind blows that the shade cloth or the insect netting does not blow off. So as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. I know it was a little bit longer than what I wanted to be, but I want it to be very thorough with how we go from start to end. So again, once the seeds germinate, then I'm going to go ahead and do another video so I can take you through the process of how we thin it out. But seriously, in the next couple of weeks, we are going to go ahead and we are going to, you pretty much can start harvesting. So like within the next 2 to 4 weeks, we'll have some things popping up. And so thank you so much for watching. I hope you share this video with your family and your friends. If you are not a subscriber, we will absolutely love to have you as a subscriber. So make sure you tap the bell so that you can receive notification each and every time we upload a new video. Again, thank you all so much for watching. And until the next video, bye-bye.